Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Theisen and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
Welcome in, Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Happy Thursday morning. Scott Theisen, Drew DeArmond holding court with you until 9 a.m. this morning. And we're going to start you off with some SEC baseball once again. The tournament going on in Hoover. And, oh, boy. People just cannot be happy with this thing being played in Hoover. And the baseball yesterday was exciting. It was thrilling. The sun was shining, but yet people still want to complain about the tournament being in Hoover. Greg Sankey wasting little time, though. He also jumped on social media yesterday. One clown, as you would put it, said that if we didn't have if we had a dome yesterday, if we played this thing in Arlington or St. Pete in a dome, we wouldn't have had delays. And Greg Sankey, wasting no time, he jumped on Twitter and said, well, when you have extra innings, that's what you get. And we had not one, but two extra inning games yesterday there in Hoover. So this tells you the excitement level that we had. The second one did involve Alabama and Florida. Top of the 11th, Alabama came out and swung the bats well.
Now the 1-1. Fastball lined into right field, backing up on it is Sheldon. It's over his head, bouncing up against the wall. Hayslip scores. Johnson scores. Given the wave is Jim Jarvis. He'll score. Tommy Seidel clears the bases in the top of the 11th. And it's Alabama in front against Florida by a 6-3 score.
So Alabama takes a 3-run lead into the bottom of the 11th, looking to knock off a number one seed for the first time since 2010. Florida looking to make history. No team in extras has overcome a 3-run deficit in the SEC tournament.
Wasn't scoring in the 10th. There's been 3 runs in the top of the inning, 1 already in the bottom. The pitch. Swing and a fly ball launched high in the air to center. Backing up on it, Caden Rose. He can only watch as this one's gone. B.T. Riopel with a walk-off 3-run homer, and in the bottom of the 11th inning, Florida walks it off against Alabama, 7-6, the final score in Hoover.
You were there. Plenty of excitement in that second extra inning game, Alabama and Florida.
No doubt. It was a great college baseball game. The Gators are the SEC champion, co-champion, but they're the number one seed. I mean, they handled Arkansas in the regular season, I believe, and that's why they're the number one overall seed. But they're a tremendously talented ball club. Alabama gave themselves a chance, really on a couple of occasions. They made a throwing error, which was their only mistake, really, in the first 9 innings of the game, where they could have won 3-2. But to the credit of Aiden Moza, who gave them 4 1/3 out of the bullpen, he struck out their 3 and 4 hitters, and I'll just say this: I've seen Alabama play live several times. I've seen Alabama play on TV a bunch. That's my first time seeing Florida because I didn't see any of the series in Gainesville, but it was very hotly contested. Alabama lost on a walk-off on Saturday and ended up winning the Sunday game. So they could have won 2 out of 3 in the series. And lost some, a tough 2 out of 3, and then now lost 3 out of 4 to them twice on walk-offs. That 2-3-4 for Florida, 2-3-4 and 5. B.T. Riopel, who just hit the walk-off last night's their catcher. Those guys are pros. I mean, Alabama is a really good college baseball team,
right?
But they're not as talented as Florida. Yet, if you watch the game and you look at the eye test, Alabama's a regional host. That's what I watched last night. I watched 2 teams that should be in the top 16. If they're not, trapdoor the committee and give them all lobotomies because they have no business being on said committee. Okay,
Right,
but
right.
I mean, I just thought that it was a high-level college baseball, and the only small thing you could say, Aiden Moza gave up a soft single on on an 0-2 pitch to lead off the inning, where Ed Johnson, the second baseman, it just ticked off his glove. He almost made a diving catch, like Caden Rose did out in the outfield in the 7th inning. By the way,
Oh yeah,
just
beautiful
inches
catch.
away. You might have just, because Moza had struck out their 3 and 4 hole guys to get out of that huge jam after their throwing error, to give them a chance to get into extra innings. And so you might have given him a chance, even though he'd thrown over 50 pitches. I think he threw 59 officially, to get out of the situation. And maybe if he had let one more hitter reach, if he had let the 3-hole reach, then you make the change. But again, I just think, and I still would have gone to Alton Davis, because there was a lot of people on Twitter, yakking and talking about how, well, J.J. Jackson, what are you doing? The kid pitched yesterday, and Aiden Moza was gassed. All I got to say is Alabama's trying to win the first 2 games, in my opinion, to lock up a regional host. I think they should have already, but to me, it cinches it. And you're playing the number 1 team in the tournament, maybe the best team in the country. I think they're ranked number 2 right now. And I don't know if I'll see a team as physically talented as Florida.
Right.
And so you got a chance to beat them and split 4 games. You go to your best guy. Alton threw 25 pitches the night before, through 2 innings, 12 pitches an inning. But still, I go to my best guy and he'd been able to pitch around traffic all season. He gave up, a base hit right away, which to the 3-hole hitter for Florida, who is going to be a first round, maybe the first pick in the draft next year. He's leading the nation in home runs. He's got 28. I don't know if people remember him, but back in the 90s when I was at Alabama, Florida had a guy just like this kid who pitched and hit, and at a very high level with both of them. And I don't think the Expos were gone yet. But I was thinking they drafted him in the first round. But his name was Brad Wilkerson, and he was a lefty too, and he was tremendous. And so this kid's the same kind of player. And Alabama was playing deep, and he got what you call an aluminum bat single.
Right.
He fought it off, and it was a high lazy fly, but it fell in for a base hit. And then Josh Rivera, who may have impressed me more than any of their hitters last night, he did have 1 strikeout, but he came up. He had hit a 2-run homer to the moon in the first inning. He's the 4-hole in the shortstop. And he had a really nice piece of hitting, base hit off of Alton. And when they got the 3rd straight hit, I thought to myself, Alton's been able to pitch around traffic all year, but there's no outs. They may not have it tonight, and that's what happened. They gave up the bomb. I will say there was 2 strikes on BT Rapinoe. I still think if he had gotten through him and you get to 6, 7, 8, he might have had a chance to get a double play ball or pitch through it. But those 4 guys, 2, 3, 4, and 5, I mean, it's like a murderer's row. And he just couldn't get through it, and it's one of those things that's baseball. They never even got an out. I mean, it's almost like Sarge, and that's Tommy Seidel, who you heard get that huge 2-out double that cleared the bases. Florida came out pissed off. They came out pissed off, knowing their backs were against the wall, and it fell perfect for them because they had 2, 3, 4, and 5 due up. Alabama had to get through the meat of the order, and that's what they did. And it was some great baseball yesterday. Yep. And who cares if it wasn't in the dome? Because guess what? There was no weather delay, and they started at the exact same times that they did the day before because of extra innings. Yep. So everybody quit bitching. Get over there, cover the games. If you don't like it, don't come cover it, and get the hell out of there. That's all I can tell you.
Well, now Alabama's got to pick up the pieces. Interim head coach Jason Jackson on what he told his team after the game in the locker room.
Basically what I told him was, hey, man, this hurts, right? And it's supposed to hurt, right? You invest that much into the game, and it was an emotional game, and again, it was a very well-played game. But this is supposed to hurt, right? I mean, that's a kick in the gut, and so it's okay to be pissed. You should be pissed. But we're going to go home, and we'll go back to the hotel, and we're going to eat, and we're going to be pissed off for a little while, and that's okay. But when we wake up tomorrow, that score resets to 0-0, and we got to bring it to the ballpark. We got to be ready to go. We got to be ready to bring it when we get here.
So who will Alabama play? Well, they were going to take on the loser of the Auburn-Vanderbilt game. And the Auburn Tigers got a home run from Bryson Ware. He tied the Auburn single-season record with his 23rd home run, which, by the way, tied former Grissom Tiger Hunter Morris's single-season record of 23 home runs. Auburn, though, falls to Vanderbilt 6-4. Ware's two-run line drive homer scored Cooper McMurray, who drew a leadoff walk in the ninth to pull the Tigers within 2 runs with no outs. But Vanderbilt's Patrick Riley retired the next 3 batters. They end the game. Auburn comes up short against the Commodores 6-4. And Butch Thompson talking about now getting Alabama and Auburn in Hoover.
So that's good. I just, 3 minutes after a ball game, I'm still trying to find out ways to get through and navigate today. Bryson Ware at least gave us a shot, but, when you see those 2 runs left out there and know how they kind of scored, we'll be ready to go tomorrow. Is it the second? What time do we play? Okay. All right. So we'll get to bed and get up here and get ready to fight. But it'll be awesome to play. They've had a great year, and I think that's a great roster they have. And we need to bounce back. So we're learning lessons. We're learning more about our team every day we play.
Yep, so that's Butch Thompson talking about battling back, and they will, and they'll take on Alabama today in Hoover.
Yeah, and Bryson Ware, that 23rd homer, tied the great Hunter Morris, who's now, ironically, Alabama's hitting coach and, of course, a Grissom grad, for the single-season record for Auburn. They fought against Vandy last night. They didn't play as clean a game as they wanted to. Some walks, some errors. Was able to give Vanderbilt that ball game, but they're going to come out and fight. It's Alabama and Auburn. I think everybody was hoping it would be the 7:30 game. I certainly was, to be in prime time and get a chance for that rivalry to play against each other. But both teams had tough losses. There's no doubt about it. So they're going to have to get up. I don't really know either team's pitching situation. Alabama should be in a little better shape because they should have a choice as to go with either Garrett McMillan, their number 2, their Saturday starter, or Jacob McNary from Athens, the Sunday guy. Neither one of them is pitched. Auburn, they've got some guys banged up. They threw Tommy Vale already. He's not going to be available. We'll see what they're going to do as far as Auburn kind of had to piece it together last night, but they got some strong efforts from their starter and from certainly Armstrong. So they've got some guys available as well. So it's going to be really interesting to see how Butch approaches it. Plus, like I was, telling some folks last night when they were complaining about how, or people were questioning, well, what should J.J. Jackson have done? He should have done this. He should have done that. Here's the thing. You go with your best guy, to me, to try to beat Florida, or your best guys. And you also have to think about the rest of the tournament, because I think no matter what, if Alton Davis had been able to finish it, he wouldn't have pitched again for at least 2 days. And what I mean by that is if Alabama had made the weekend, which is the semifinals, Saturday and Sunday, he might have pitched again, and I don't even know if there had been a guarantee of that. He certainly wouldn't have pitched today or the next day. You don't see closers in Major League Baseball pitch 3 days in a row very often, just every once in a blue moon. But to me, I don't know who else you throw if you're Alabama, because Riley Quick's very talented, but he's been out for a few weeks. I was told he was available last night, but he hasn't thrown in like 2 or 3 weeks. And you've got Hunter Hoops, who hasn't thrown much. He was out for much of the season. Recently came back, and Hagan Banks. But you got to save some guys for today. And not just the starters, I mean relievers, because you don't know how the game's going to go. Right. And you've got more important baseball to play, and that's what Butch Thompson was kind of referencing a little bit, is that you got to get your stuff lined up for next week. You're trying to win this tournament, but in order to do it, especially when you play on Tuesday, you've got to have some guys step up like Hunter Furtado did for Alabama yesterday.
This is where Alabama and Auburn have that disadvantage.
Yeah, exactly.
Because now you look at the rest of these league, the schools that are left.
Yeah.
And not to make excuses by any stretch, but Florida and Vanderbilt, LSU, Arkansas, they're in greater situations because they have better depth because of being able to have more on a roster than what Alabama and Auburn has. And now Alabama and Auburn got to battle their way back through the losers bracket. So you're going to be playing a little extra baseball, and you're going to be taxing the bullpens and the starting pitching a little bit more.
Well, and you know what else is in common too, and it's why you need to win and get the buys. None of the teams that played Tuesday won. Okay, that's why in the history of the SEC tournament, Scott, no team that played on Tuesday has ever won it. You've got to stay in the winners bracket.
A long way in,
yeah. You have to, and getting that bye is huge, and it's just what you talked about. You don't have to burn any pitchers.
All right, let's get that first break in. When we come back, we cap all the rest of the scores from the league, plus talk some college football as well. The ACC and Georgia, Florida in the news. We'll explain.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
We still haven't picked up anything accident-wise. We did pick up a traffic signal malfunction, Old Highway 20 and Collaborate Way. Apparently that signal is short cycling, so we got a pretty good traffic backup in that area. You can fly Breeze nonstop to Orlando, Las Vegas, or Tampa, starting at $49. What are you waiting for? You could get to the fun faster, and you could book at flybreeze.com. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ann Adams with Berkshire Hathaway Rise Real Estate is the one name to know if you're buying or selling real estate. With years of local experience, Ann Adams offers buyers in-depth knowledge of the local housing market and will narrow available properties down to those you'll be interested in so you can save time when shopping for your new home. If you're ready to sell, Ann offers a seamless process using accurate pricing and expert negotiation skills to make sure you get a fair price for your home. Call Ann Adams today at 256-337-2625 or log on bhhsriserealestate.com.
0% financing is happening right now at Woody Anderson Ford through Memorial Day weekend. Hey folks, Bobby White back again for Woody Anderson Ford, and we've got financing as low as 0% APR for up to 36 months on 22 and 23 models of F-150, Explorer, Edge, and Escape. These are our best-selling Fords, and for a limited time, both 22 and 23 models have 0% financing, but it's only through Memorial Day weekend. Test drive a Woody Anderson Ford F-150, and you'll completely understand why it's the best-selling truck in America 46 years in a row. We've got a good selection of Explorers, Edges, and Escapes too, and some come with trade assist or bonus cash. But if you remember one thing, remember this. Woody Anderson Ford has 0% financing on 22 and 23 models of F-150, Explorer, Edge, and Escape through Memorial Day weekend only. Available with your good credit through Ford Motor Credit. These offers end May 31st. Woody Anderson Ford, hope to see you soon.
Get your ticket to greatness.
Attention all high school boys and girls basketball players. Ticket to Greatness and Grind Nation have partnered together to bring you the Grind to Greatness High School Recruitment Combine. All athletes will have a chance to showcase their basketball skills directly in front of college coaches. This combine is an NCAA certified event. The boys combine is July 15th and 16th. The girls combine July 22nd and 23rd at Sparkman High School on Jeff Road in Harvest. Register now at greatness.com. Make this the summer you finally get your own backyard pool from Superior Pool Construction. Family owned and operated, our team can have you swimming and splashing in no time. And now is the time to choose your custom fiberglass pool. Superior Pool Construction has a few spots still open for quick installation this summer. 80 different pools to choose from and 12 in beautiful Diamond Tech colors. All come with a 50-year manufacturer's structural warranty. Call Superior Pool Construction now, 256-284-5953, 284-5953.
Tom Abraham here for my friend Brian Hamaker and his team at North Alabama Mortgage. Look, buying a home is the biggest purchase you will make in your life, and it can be a bit intimidating, so you want people that can help walk you through the mortgage process and get you the best deal possible. That's what North Alabama Mortgage does, and they do it in Alabama, Tennessee, and Florida, from first-time purchases to refis, conventional, VA, FHA, and USDA loans. They have the solution at North Alabama Mortgage. Visit NorthAlabamaMortgage.com to learn more. That's NorthAlabamaMortgage.com.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you until 9. Hey, don't forget, We want you to be a part of the Woody Anderson Ford Rocket City Awards coming up on June 19th, Monday, June 19th, inside Mars Music Hall. We're going to be handing out awards to the best high school boys and girls athlete of the year, boys and girls high school team of the year. We're also going to give the North Alabama College Team of the Year, Coach of the Year, Player of the Year on the North Alabama College side. We've got about, 15 awards, I think, 16 awards. 7 o'clock, Mars Music Hall.
So it's 7 to 9, right?
Yeah, we're gonna hopefully be out of there by 9. The reason why is because our friends over at WH&T, they are going to live stream the event.
That's right.
And so they have got a 9 o'clock newscast. So our goal is to get this in and out. We want you to be in and out. We're going to feed you as well. The doors are going to open up, I think at 5:30. You're going to get food, and in typical Talking Ball fashion, we're going to give it a buffet because we ain't giving you no little tiny ass piece of chicken. No, we're giving you some food. This is how we do it. So it's
well, you know how I am, Scott. When you don't go to an event and I go to an event, the first thing I tell you about is the food because I know you want to know.
Well, that's right.
So,
I mean,
I was just going to tell you in Hoover. You were just talking about a buffet. It was basically that's what it was. You could have more than one cheeseburger. And I only had one. You probably would have been disappointed in that, but they were big cheeseburgers, though.
Cheeseburgers are fine because it's protein. You eat a couple as long as it's grilled. Eat a couple.
It was grilled. It was good. It was good. It was good. And they had chips and snacks and fruits and nuts and that kind of stuff. And now and they had waters. They had plenty of water because I know you're a big water person. And they had Diet Dr Pepper, and I was proud of that.
There you go.
Because it just means more. And as they say in the SEC, and the big sponsors Now I will say this: they didn't have any strawberries and cream Dr. Now they had a commercial. And it gave me I was like, oh, Lord, here we go.
You need to find the canned sugar-free.
Well, it's so funny. I was at a gas station last night on the way home to get some gas, and I pulled over there in Hoover, and, of course, they had it, but not Coke, the Zero one. I looked all over the bottle. I was like, nah, I can't do this.
I can't find the sugar-free one. I've looked.
I will say this for the SEC. They've done a special commercial just about that.
Yep.
Just about strawberries and cream, but they weren't talking about Zero, I can tell you that.
Well, if you want to go to the Rocket City Awards, email us at 977tickets@gmail.com. And it is open to the public. You can get tickets. You can attend the event. It's going to be a fantastic evening. I promise it'll be fun. It'll be fantastic. It's something that this community needs. It's something that'll be fun. It's the 2023 Woody Anderson Ford Rocket City Awards presented by the Huntsville Sports Commission. Our good friends there over the Huntsville Sports Commission continuing to help us do great things. But again, June 19th, it is a Monday. So we want to see you there at the Rocket City Awards. 256-576-4977. If you want to be a part of the show this morning, feel free to do so, and we will take care of you. So we talked about Alabama and Auburn, SEC baseball tournament. The other results from yesterday did see 3-seed LSU dismantle South Carolina 10-3. That was the only non-close ball game of the day because number 2 seed Arkansas nips 10th seed Texas A&M 6-5 in 11 innings.
Yeah.
So really the LSU South Carolina game was the only one that just kind of played out like the seed really should, 3-6. So today you do get South Carolina, Texas A&M at 9:30. That is an elimination game. Mm-hmm. Alabama, Auburn, an elimination game after the South Carolina game. So I'm not going to put a time on that one. It's just going to be 30 minutes after the completion of the South Carolina, Texas A&M game. Then the winner's bracket is going to be number 3 seed LSU, number 2 seed Arkansas, top seed Florida, 4th seed Vanderbilt. That means prime time on the SEC network. You're going to get to hear the Vandy Whistler.
Lord, I'm going to tell you what, son. I was listening to our app, and all these folks need to download off the hat, and so many of you have. We appreciate it. And I'm talking about our 97.7 Zone app. And I was listening to it on the way home because I was covering the Alabama game. We're the home of Alabama Crimson Tide, and I was. But as I was going home, I was listening to the Auburn Vanderbilt game. And that dude just never gets tired. I mean, he's just monotonous with the whistling. And I thought about Jason Caldwell, who I spoke with last night, and and Brian Matthews was there too, and some colleagues that I have a lot of respect for that are covering Auburn. And I was like, man, I feel sorry for y'all too, because y'all have to sit there and you hear it in live and on press row over and over and over again, and it was annoying as hell listening to it on the radio. And I mean, good Lord, I mean, and at least he wasn't doing it. I'm sure he was in the park.
He was in the park.
No, what I mean is during the Alabama Florida game, at least we didn't have to listen to it for that. But good Lord. And so, I mean, it's just annoying and monotonous. I mean, the only other thing that you always, and you'll hear it this afternoon when LSU plays, because I guess you did say they're playing at 4:30, right? In the winners bracket.
They're tentatively, tentatively set
to start the second session. LSU.
Right, yeah, they're going to start the second session, but we know how well the 4:30 game has gotten off.
Well, so far, but LSU is going to be certainly playing Arkansas in the winners bracket, and so. But I'm just saying, when you think about that, the only other thing about it is annoying. And I've been going to Alabama baseball games since the late '90s. There's an iron lung guy at LSU, and all he screams is "go," and he gets everybody else to say Tigers, and he's never quiet either, because that's how you know LSU's playing. Go, and then Tigers. One year when I was at Alabama was, at that point in time, Alabama could look LSU straight in the eye and basically competed with them and beat them, not 50% of the time, but, let's just put it like 4 out of 10 times, and really could compete with LSU, who was the best program in the country. And it was one of the funniest things I've ever heard. The guy kept yelling, "Go," even though Alabama was beating the hell out of LSU that day. And so the Alabama fans just started yelling home. Go home, go home. You know what I'm saying? So, again, it's one of those things.
We got a little
the Vandy Whistler. He's got his own little van, by the way.
Yeah, see, the Vandy Whistler, I think he didn't start becoming a thing until they became good, because when back in the late 90s, Vandy was awful. I never heard a Whistler until the last several years. So he's kind of a new guy.
It hasn't been he hasn't been around.
We can't turn the clock back.
Here he is.
I know it's after midnight. We can't turn the clock back and turn it back into the mid-'80s and put on a Whitey Herzog team.
That was last night.
We can't turn the we can't turn the clock back.
Okay. I didn't
Tom Hart
realize that one. Yeah. Whoops.
Tom's had a few slips of the tongue in this tournament, and that was another one.
Oh, did not mean for that one to. I did not know. I was just playing some Vandy Whistler. All right.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's what you get today from the SEC baseball tournament. Boy. It is 7:28. We are due for a break. We can get one in. When we come back, we will talk a little college football for you.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-80s. Maybe an isolated shower across the Tennessee Valley. Most of us going to end up staying dry. Dropping into the upper 50s, lower 60s through the overnight, early into your Friday morning. Partly sunny sky Friday afternoon. Upper 70s, lower 80s. An isolated shower is going to be possible. We're going to maintain this weather pattern as we head into your Saturday. A partly sunny sky. Temperatures in the mid and upper 70s. Some of us creeping into the lower 80s with an isolated shower. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Good morning. We still haven't found anything accident-wise. Have a traffic signal malfunction reported Old Highway 20 and Collaborate Way. Still may be trying to get that one back online. Everything else, though, seems to be running smooth this morning. You could lose up to 4 sizes in 4 weeks with the 2030 Fast Track Weight Loss Program. Find out more at 2030huntsville.com. Captain Nick in the 72 and Jeff Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
You've got to experience Toyotathon at Bill Penny Toyota. They've got the selection with over 700 new Toyotas to choose from. And they've got the extras with Bill Penny perks and a 10-year unlimited warranty. So get on over to Bill Penny Toyota today and experience Toyotathon. Bill Penny Toyota in Huntsville and online at BillPennyToyota.com. Bill Penny's Toyota 10-year unlimited warranty is valid through the 10th year of ownership. Valid on new vehicles only. See dealer for details.
Hi, this is Wes Neighbors. I'm here with Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Sam, tell the folks about Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Hey Wes, our company Fleming Roofing and Restoration specializes in commercial and residential roofing and repairs. I'm a 5th generation Huntsvillian, and our family's been doing construction business in Huntsville area since 1965.
Sam, what kind of roofs does Fleming Roofing and Restoration do?
Our guys are skilled enough. We can come out and address any kind of leaks or issues you might have on your commercial, on your metal roofing, on your shingles. We can do anything, and we can offer you a solution to repair it, or we can replace it.
Well, you guys also do insurance restoration.
Our staff has 10 plus years of experience as insurance adjusters, and we really do know the inside and out of the claims process at Fleming Roofing and Restoration.
Check out Fleming Roofing and Restoration online at FlemingHSV.com, or you can call or text them at 256-651-9440.
Hey Wes, we show up.
Hello listeners, I want to tell you a little bit about Minuteman Press and what we have to offer our community. We specialize in paper printing and can help from designing your piece to the finished product. We print media guides for many of the athletic departments at high schools and universities around the area. We typically purchase sponsorships from these schools as well to try and help them with their fundraising. Once we have reached our new normal, we also print all types of marketing materials for you to hand out either in person, via mail, or at various trade shows and events. At Minuteman Press, we're not just putting ink on paper, we're building relationships.
Have you ever turned your back on God? Have you ever absolutely known the right thing to do and just turned around and walked away in disobedience? I know that I have. Aren't we thankful for our great and merciful God who loves us and forgives us and remembers our sin no more? I'm so thankful that His mercies are fresh every day. I need that, and I suspect you do too. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor of Cross Point Church, and if you're looking for a church home, come see us. We're smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison, and check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Chapman Commercial Realty, your source for Alabama commercial real estate. Chapman Commercial Realty has the experience and expertise you're looking for when making commercial real estate decisions. If it's office space, retail space, investment property, or project development, Chapman Commercial Realty is your answer. Call Bill Chapman today at 256-656-8413. That's 256-656-8413. Or find them online at chapmancommercialrealty.com.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation, and new construction insulation, commercial and residential. Our primary goal is to save you money, and lots of it. Typical clients realize their return on investment within 3 to 6 months. That means the re-insulation actually pays for itself and then some. See if we can help you. Contact Eagle Insulation today, 256-755-1556, or log on insulatewitheagle.com.
From the Alabama Crimson Tide to the Atlanta Braves, we are 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond with you, hanging out until 9 a.m. 256-576-4977. That's the number to the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. We want you to be a part of the show this morning. College football news. The Florida-Georgia game is not going anywhere, at least for the next 2 seasons. The world's largest outdoor cocktail party is staying put in Jacksonville for 2 more years. Drew, the Gators and Bulldogs no surprise here. They've exercised that contract to keep the game there through the 2025 season. Now, renovations, again, could move it away for 2 years, but the 2024, the 2025 seasons will be played in Jacksonville. The game has been played there since 1933, with the exception of the 94-95 season when the stadium was being renovated. This did not settle the issue for 2026 and beyond, with Kirby Smart continuing to be vocal about preferring a home-and-home series for the sake of recruiting, but he's also acknowledged the finances that come with this game, and it is in the millions of dollars that the schools get for playing this one in Jacksonville.
Yeah, it's very, very important. Our good friend Brent Beard lives in the area and knows it. The mayor's up for re-election, so he's definitely been trying to make sure that contract got re-upped, or he would probably be basically forced to resign with the money that Jacksonville would lose over that. Let's not misunderstand something. They've got an NFL team. But it's still a college football town, and that weekend is extremely important to all the local businesses and to everyone in the community, and what it does for the hotels, for the restaurants, for all these businesses that can thrive just for that 3 or 4 days. So, I mean, it's traditional. I think it needs to stay there. I know Kirby's complaining and wants it. I mean, why is he complaining about Georgia's recruiting anyway? They're recruiting at an extremely high level. I think part of it is because it's in Florida, because it's considered a Gator stronghold. But, I mean, look, man, for many years Spurrier dominated Georgia, but Spurrier's gone. Florida's still trying to get traction. Georgia's the best program in the country right now, again. And, look, I think that, to be honest with you, I think it needs to stay where it is.
Right.
I think there's enough Georgia people. There's a very large alumni base for Georgia that's in Jacksonville as well. And again, I think I know they eventually took the Iron Bowl to campus sites and took it away from Birmingham. But I just think in this case, everyone is different. And I think, certainly, I mean, some would say, well, then why don't you rotate it between Jacksonville and Atlanta or whatever, and give let the game be played in Georgia. Look, man, I think it's a 50-50 deal. It's supposed to be down the middle. Now, at times it's not, considering if Georgia and Florida, if one of the two's having an off year. But Georgia's on a big hot streak right now. I still think Billy Napier is going to turn around the Gators. And so, to me, it's a unique environment. It's unique to college football, and I think it needs to stay where it is.
I just read Mike Griffith's column.
Yeah.
And the headline, oh my goodness, I'm sure this is the one. He posted this one 17 hours ago.
Right.
Have you seen this one?
I have not. I was covering baseball, which is, it was very important for us. For the SEC tournament, it's very important. It's a lot more important than Georgia-Florida football right now.
This says, Kirby Smart reigned in Birmingham, shared Georgia football portal and staff retention tips. And he went on to say that the Kirby Smart Offseason Victory Tour does not include a display of national championship trophies or any sense of comfort or complacency. He said that Kirby Smart basically won and was the star of the Birmingham event at Greystone Country Club last week, the Regions Golf Tournament, while 71-year-old Alabama head coach Nick Saban was out of the country for rest and relaxation after his program experienced its third two-loss season in the past 4 years. Mm-hmm. He said Smart paid tributes to Saban's career and how he helped the sport along before Georgia took over the top spot with its unparalleled efficiency, managing rosters and developing NFL players.
How many NFL players does Alabama have? And what I mean by that is Alabama's got more than Georgia. So, I know Georgia's had a good 2 years. Congratulations. Griffith and those guys can put the DVDs in the shredder or whatever, and don't have to talk about Herschel all the time and quote Herschel and everything. That's great. But Alabama's still got the most NFL players. Nick Saban has more first-round draft picks than losses. Nick Saban actually puts first-round draft choices offensively at every position in the NFL right now. Georgia still hasn't. Now, they look like they're going to start doing that, and they certainly will with Brock Bowers, who, is a freakazoid. Now, Mike Griffith has already put Brock Bowers in the College Football Hall of Fame. He already said he's a lock. Well, he probably should be. He's a great player.
Right.
And he'll be a kind of a lone wolf right now. Georgia, I think DeAndre Swift may have gone like the last pick of the first round, but they haven't put a lot of – and I think Sony Michel went in the first round, but they haven't had a ton of skill guys go in round one. It looks like that's the Georgia's next step. We'll see. But, again, Griffith likes to kind of turn the knife, and I like Mike. He's a good guy. But, Alabama ain't going anywhere. Just because Nick Saban went to Italy doesn't mean he's not focused with his eyes on the prize. You want to tug on Superman's cape? He might turn around and knock your teeth out of your head. So we've already been here before. Dabo was crowned as the king of college football 3, 4, 5 years ago, and Trevor Lawrence was supposed to win 3 Heismans and 3 straight national championships. He won 0 Heismans and he won 1 national championship.
Yeah.
So they've tried to do this before and talk about how Alabama hadn't made the playoff 2 of the last 4 years. Well, whoop-de-damn-do. Georgia, won the national championship without winning the SEC title 2 years ago because Alabama blew their ass out when they were healthy in the SEC championship game, or relatively healthy. They were still some guys that got banged up in that SEC championship game. But when they had the guys on the field, we know who the better team was. The better team was Alabama. You can talk about ifs and buts and candies and nuts, and I guess that's what I'm doing with Alabama. If I'm saying if they were healthy, they would have won.
Right.
But the thing about it is, we did see it happen. We saw it happen. We saw Bryce Young take Georgia apart. It wasn't an if this guy was there. Alabama had their guys, and they blew Georgia out. And Georgia is 1-7 against Alabama in their last 8. Let me say that one more time. 1-7 in their last 8 against Alabama. They're acting like they've won about 10 in a row. But again, that's not the case. They're 1-7. They didn't play Alabama last year. They wanted no part of Alabama last year. I don't give a damn what anybody says because they didn't want to see Bryce Young and what he was capable of doing. It was a perfect storm, and they went 15-0-1. But that's what I'm saying. Alabama's not going anywhere. Georgia's not either. They're going to start. They're going to be looking. They're going to be staring each other down. LSU's trying to crown themselves and act like they're going to win the division because they beat Alabama last year, 32-31 in Baton Rouge. Well, we'll see. And LSU certainly should be very, very good too. So Alabama's got to get over LSU, and then they've got to stare Georgia in the eye. But I think Alabama certainly is looking forward to that challenge, and I hope LSU continues to print T-shirts, giving themselves the Western Division championship in the preseason, and I hope Georgia already thinks that they're going to three-peat and be the best program in history. Go ahead. We'll see if it happens, but Georgia's got some big shoes to fill too. They lost their quarterback, who was a great story, one of the better underdog stories ever. They've lost a ton of talent defensively. We'll see if it plugs in and if guys buy in. They got another guy arrested the other day. They want to talk about Alabama's issues off the field. Well, they just had a starting wide receiver arrested for more reckless driving, so we'll see. But Georgia's schedule's a joke, so they should be there anyway.
Well, the Georgia schedule has been picked apart, and that has been put out there. In the SEC, it is, according to ESPN's, the Football Power Index?
Yeah.
They have the easiest schedule in the SEC, does Georgia. But at the same time, too, is that Georgia's fault?
No. I mean, it wasn't their fault. Because Oklahoma joined the league,
right?
They made them cancel that game. It would have made it more difficult. Now, do I think Georgia would have beat Oklahoma? Yes, I certainly do. I think Georgia's got a better roster right now. There's no question about that.
Georgia's still or Oklahoma under Brent Venables is still a team trying to find its way.
Yeah, he's still trying to reestablish Oklahoma. He's trying to clean up the mess that Lincoln Sharman, a.k.a. Dirt Neck Jr., left the Oklahoma program in when he went to USC. So we'll see. I mean, but again, I just think overall, Georgia's the best team in the country right now, and there's no question. And I'm not but I'm just pointing out that, Alabama going 11-2 and Nick Saban going to Italy, I don't understand why Griffith, I guess he's trying to get clicks or whatever, but why he wants to continue to take pot shots at Nick Saban, who, Georgia fans should be thankful for Nick Saban, because without Nick Saban and without him developing Kirby Smart, he ain't coming home to finally get Georgia over the hump. They would still be pining for the days of Herschel. So you better be thankful for Nick Saban and being able to, and him developing a lot of these head coaches, and him developing Dirt Neck. He's developed the entire league. Let's just not – everybody that's making the money they're making and getting the exposure they're making is because of Nick Saban. And that's why Mike Griffith has a job. He's had a bunch of them. He's bounced from one beat app to another and done a good job everywhere he's been. But it all goes back to how big this sport is and how big Nick Saban made it when he came to the SEC. He's still the king. Kirby Smart right now has the best program, but the best to ever do it is Nick Saban. And, Kirby may end up eventually being that, but again, you don't crown yourself, and they don't award them in May. You go out there and you earn it on the field, which Georgia's earned 2 in a row. So can they continue to do it? That's the hardest thing to do. Nick Saban has done it. He's won 6 national championships in 16 years, and he could have won 9 or 10. Okay, that's how good Alabama's been. Nobody has done that.
Right.
I mean, ESPN tried to crown USC under Pete Carroll as the greatest dynasty they'd ever seen. It's peanuts compared to what Alabama's done. I told David Reese this years ago, who listens to this show, I said, Nick Saban is about to show everybody what they thought the Trojans were. And he absolutely did. He rammed it down everybody's throat, and everybody's tried to bury Alabama several times, and they haven't been buried. We'll see if Alabama can recover from an 11-2 season. We'll see. I mean, but that's how Alabama's judged. But I think Alabama's fine with that. Alabama is the greatest program in history dating back to the 1920s. It's not Georgia. It's not Notre Dame. I mean, they did not even have cell phones, HD television, nothing. It wasn't black and white, but it was close when the last time Notre Dame won anything. Okay, that's why Brian Kelly came to LSU, because he didn't think Notre Dame could get over the hump.
All right, Jeremy's on the phone, but we got to get a break in. I know it's 46. We got to get a break in. Jeremy, hold on for 2 minutes, and we're going to get to you right after the break.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Just got a wreck reported on I-65 northbound Tennessee River Bridge. They're reporting it at the 337. That one may have injuries involved. And we had a traffic signal problem. Old Highway 20 and Collaborate Way may still be trying to get that one back online. Great summer start at the Y and Camp Chalakee on Lake Guntersville. Overnight or day camp, kayak, zip line, go on the giant swing or even the blob. Chalakee.org or call the YMCA. Captain Nick in the Jordan Lane, Popeyes, Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Not looking or feeling your best? No energy for the things you like to do? Ready to look and feel younger? Make your appointment at Advanced Life Clinic, one of the region's foremost destinations for patients interested in looking and feeling their best. Specializing in advanced laser treatments and weight loss, male and female rejuvenation to offset the effects of aging, and more. See how Advanced Life Clinic can help you enjoy your life again. Call 256-882-6555 or log on advancedlifeclinic.com.
When I chose a garage door company, I did my homework. I needed Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. They have a 5-star Google rating. I checked their reviews and liked what their customers had to say. Precision Overhead Garage Door has lifetime warranty packages. Same-day service if I call before 2 p.m. If they can't make it the same day, my service call fee the next day is waived. They did a 25-point safety inspection on the door and operator. Now that's peace of mind. Residential, commercial, and gate services. Precision Overhead Garage Door Service. Call 256-400-4500.
The kitchen is the heart of any home. It's where the family gathers. It's where kids discover old recipes and make them their own. Just starting out or just now getting started on the dream kitchen you've always wanted?
I'm Chris Haygood, and from all of us here at Bob Wallace Appliance to the home builders,
and the homeowners of the Huntsville area, a heartfelt thank you for buying local. We're in Huntsville, Florence, and Coleman, and online at bobwallaceappliance.com.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention veterans, active duty military, civilians, and contractors. If you were issued earplugs between 1999 and 2015 and were diagnosed with hearing loss or ringing in the ears, you may be entitled to compensation. The manufacturer of these military earplugs recently paid $9.1 million to resolve claims that their earplugs were defective, potentially exposing service members to damaging sound levels that could have resulted in hearing loss or tinnitus. If you or a loved one were issued earplugs and were diagnosed with tinnitus or hearing loss, don't wait. You fought for this country, and our attorneys want to fight for you. Call 800-720-4587 now for a free legal consultation and to see if you may be eligible to file a claim. Time restrictions may apply, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. So call 800-720-4587 now. Again, 800-720-4587. That's 800-720-4587.
The best in local sports talk from the 256. We are local.
When you're number one, you don't have to worry.
We are award-winning. Thank you for listening. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You'll be set for life.
There we go, 7:50 on a Thursday morning. Let's go out to the phone lines. Jeremy's with us this morning. Good morning, Jeremy.
Y'all got me fired up this morning, man. That's the topic right there. There's a reason why, since Nick Saban has been in Alabama, that Auburn has been through as many coaches as they've been through. It's because they're looking for the Nick Saban, the next Nick Saban. There's a reason why Georgia went through so many coaches before they found Kirby. That's the reason why Michigan went after Jim Harbaugh. That's the reason why so many schools have went through more coaches in the period that Nick Saban's been there than they have the entire time before Saban was there. It's because they're trying to find the best recruiter. They're trying to find the guy that puts the winning mentality into his players, puts the culture in the locker room, and there's only one guy that does that, and it's Nick Saban. And the guys that are doing it now learned it from Nick Saban because they were down in Tuscaloosa on the sidelines with him. Everybody hold on to the Bear Bryant era. Yeah, because he was the greatest coach in college football history. And now we have Nick Saban. We as Alabama fans got lucky, and we got the two best coaches ever. And if they want to keep complaining, they go, well, you hold on to them national championships. Well, yeah, we hold on to them because that's what you're chasing. You're chasing the national championships. The problem is every year Alabama is mentioned in the championship. Every year they talk about them. They talk about them having the chance to go. And even this past year, when everybody, after the Tennessee and LSU loss, at the end of the year, what did they talk about? Hey, there's a percentage that Alabama might get into this. So all this about, Saban, everybody just dogging him, everybody just running their mouths. The Saban era's over. The dynasty was, best dynasty over any dynasty over the past years because he's actually had a dynasty.
Yeah, we kind of just several days ago on the show we were kind of defining what a dynasty is, and so certain they thought USC was, but I think it was a mini one maybe, but it wasn't what Alabama's done, and not many have done it. Clemson had a mini run, but I wouldn't call it dynastic, and we'll see if Georgia does. Georgia has a chance. Now they're getting their shot at the title, so to speak, to quote Lethal Weapon, and we'll see if they can continue to win and continue to win at that highest of levels. There's no doubt about it. Now, not even really about 2 years ago in December when Alabama, because it's been and really more like a year and a half ago. When Alabama blew Georgia out in December, there were people questioning if Kirby would ever beat Saban. And then he finally did, and now they're talking about, well, he's the best coach in the country. They've got the best program. We'll see. Right now they do, but can they stay there? that's one of the hardest things to do when you're the heavyweight champion is to stay because everybody is shooting for you. And so we'll see. Certainly Georgia has set up with a shot to a three-peat and to go undefeated again even. Now, if they were to get blown out in the SEC championship game this year by an Alabama or an LSU, because I still think that's who you will face, with their schedule strength or lack thereof it, if there's some other undefeated teams, they might not make the college football playoff. Now, if it's a close game, I think they would. I'll just say this for Georgia. You better not slip up during the regular season and have a South Carolina like they did a few years ago against Muschamp at home. So we'll see, though. I mean, I think Georgia on paper has got the best team going into the season, potentially if guys step up and they stay healthy. But that's the beautiful thing about college football. Nobody saw TCU coming, and TCU got in. I think their schedule and their league kind of helped them get in. But again, they got the opportunity and they got smoked, but they were in the playoff. A lot of things have to line up, but Georgia's definitely got a great shot at three-peat, and we'll see if they can. But Alabama, I agree with you. I don't think they're going anywhere.
Well, and the thing is I hate when a team wins. To me, a dynasty is more like Tom Brady. Tom Brady's a dynasty. When he was with the Patriots, that was a dynasty. When you add up multiple, more than two, when you can have that many Super Bowl wins, and to be honest with you, that many Super Bowl appearances, and I say the same thing about Alabama. Look at the national championships they played for. I mean, even the ones they lost. I mean, who else in the past 20 years has played for that many national championships? No one school has, and they want to question. It's just all jealousy. It's jealousy that there was an actual dynasty, and they didn't want it to be Alabama. They wanted it to be somebody else, and they want to call everything else a dynasty. That's fine. Call whatever they want to call a dynasty, but all of us will always know that the dynasty will always be the Alabama Crimson Tide over the past 20 years.
Thank you, man.
For the phone call, Jeremy.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. And all this kind of just stems from Mike Griffith basically just saying, hey, look, Kirby Smart outworking Nick Saban by showing up at a golf tournament during the summer.
Mm-hmm. Riveting.
Well, Nick Saban.
And see what he's failing to mention too. And again, he's getting the reaction he wants. But they just got Dylan Raiola, but Alabama already had Julian Sayin for several months committed, who's a 5-star quarterback in this coming class as well. So Alabama's already got a great quarterback committed who might be better than Dylan Raiola. Because guess what? I was told that Trevor Lawrence was the greatest prospect of all time.
Oh, he walked
and he
on
was going to be,
three, four Heisman Trophy winners.
It was like Ron Powlus Jr., like with the late, great Beano Cook. Beano Cook told everybody that Powlus was going to be the greatest quarterback in history. He was going to win 2 Heismans. They were going to win national championships. And how many national championships, Scott, and how many Heisman trophies did Ron Powlus win?
I don't think he won any.
0. Did he even play in the NFL?
He may have.
For more of a cup of coffee.
Yeah,
he may have gone and got me some coffee. That's all he did.
Well, aren't these the same people that say J.T. Daniels was also going to win a Heisman?
Well, one time Mike Griffith told us that Georgia, this is at SEC Media Days, had 4 first-round draft picks at quarterback. And none of them went in the first round. Some of them didn't even get drafted.
Some of them didn't even play for Georgia, finishing their
They went to
careers at
Temple,
Georgia.
Scott. Temple. Temple.
Ding, ding.
And then one of them, J.T. Daniels, is in his 4th school playing for Rice, not the food. He's playing for Rice. I-C-E. In front of 2 dogs, a cat, and some parents. That's what he's playing against. Wayne Graham is not walking through that door to make Rice good at football, okay? Wayne Graham won a national championship in baseball for Rice, okay? They're not going to be worth a tinker's damn in football. Who? Yeah.
The Owls.
Maybe he'll end up at Kennesaw State for his 7th year.
This is Brent Musburger's VSiN Action Update on 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Juice Reel, the betting intelligence tool that's making better bettors. Open the App Store and get your hands on Juice Reel. Start betting smarter. Juice R-E-E-L. Juice Reel.
Now, here are the latest lines from my guys in the desert.
Stanley Cup playoffs tonight. The Vegas Golden Knights going for the 4-game sweep at Dallas. Vegas even on the money line. Dallas minus 220. If the Stars stay alive, the series shifts back to Vegas this Saturday. Last night, Florida beat Carolina 4-3 to advance to the Cup final. NBA playoffs tonight. Eastern Conference final. Game 5. The Celtics looking to stay alive at home at the Garden. They're down 3-1 in the best of 7 against Miami. Boston's an 8.5-point favorite at the Garden. Miami plus 260 on the money line. The Celtics minus 320. The over under 215.5. If the Celtics stay alive, they head back to Miami this Saturday.
WZZN, Union Grove, Huntsville, Alabama. 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Welcome to Talkin' Ball with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond. Call into the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline now, 256-576-4977. That's 256-576-4977. Now, here's Scott and Drew.
All right, welcome back. Talking Ball, Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. Great way to end hour number 1. Wrapping up a little bit of college football news and notes there. But obviously we've kind of blended that in all day with the SEC baseball tournament. And I love Greg Sankey. I mean, he just puts out a tweet last night on his own with a nice picture saying it's a great night to be outdoors.
Yeah.
For baseball.
Baseball is an outdoor sport, okay? That's what it is. So people whining about rain delays and all this crap, just please stop.
Rain delays and extra innings.
That's just the way it is. That's what baseball is.
Even if you played this in Texas or wherever, you were going to get a delay because extra inning games. You had 2 of them yesterday.
I will say most of the complaining that we saw on social media was by Tennessee fans or media. And I think they were a little pissed off. They got their ass beat and went home the first day.
Would they only get like 1 hit, 2 hits?
1 hit. They got 1 hit by the 10 seed.
It's amazing when those bats get inspected what happens.
Yeah, it's amazing
right?
when they're not rolled and they're not using illegal substances on the baseballs. What happens? You know what I'm saying?
Not that that's what they were doing by any stretch.
Allegedly. You know.
Anyway.
But again,
the Florida Gators, they're on a quest.
I don't think they're rolling bats or using illegal substances, so
they get to deal with the Whistler
club
today.
Oh yeah, it'll. And our next guest knows about the Whistler. He knows about the Gators. He's host to the Gator Blitz. He's been a great friend of mine for many years now. There's no one more well versed in Florida athletics and Kevin O'Sullivan than Mark McLeod, and he's been good enough to join us on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline and talk about that epic finish last night. And now the Gators going to be a national seed, going to be a host certainly in the first 2 rounds, and have a chance to get back to Omaha and win O'Sullivan's 2nd national championship. And he's with us now this morning. Mark, welcome back to Huntsville. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. Good to be on with you.
Yeah, thank you for having us and being on with us, I should say. And what a game last night. A very high-level college baseball game. You know, I could nitpick a little bit with, the pitching decision in that last inning, but what I can't nitpick is 4 straight hits. And I'll just say this, Mark. I've watched Alabama play live and on television a bunch, but that was my first time because I didn't get a chance to see the Gator series earlier in the year, which was a high-level one in Gainesville. But that lineup for Florida at the top, 2 through, and really I know their leadoff hitters are good, but he looked like Roberto Alomar defensively. He didn't swing the bat great last night, but their 1 through 5 is as good as any in college baseball, though, and that 2 through 5 last night was lethal. What a win for the Gators, and I got to say, they've got as talented a raw ball club, arm-wise and talent-wise, with the sticks as anybody in the country.
Yeah, I agree. You know, and this Florida team, arguably the best team in the country, taking on maybe the hottest team in the country in Alabama, certainly one of them. And you've really seen Alabama baseball, improved. What were they? I think 16-6 going into that game last night since April 11th.
Yeah.
When, and look, they played 2 top 5 teams and a top 12 team. I mean, you got to be kidding me. So that was one red-hot Alabama team. What a game for the fans. I mean, both teams, there was no quitting either one of these teams. They laid it all on the line, and wow, that played out like a super regional game.
Oh, it really did. And I will say this. I'm going to stick by what I said at the start of the tournament. Scott and I have talked about it. I still thought Alabama needed to win 2 to host. And I still think they may need to beat Auburn today. But I do think they proved that they are a top 16 seed yesterday, playing against Florida, who's going to be a national seed, might be the number 1 seed, especially if they win this tournament. But to me, the eye test told me that Alabama should host a regional, Mark.
Absolutely. No question. And look, if you didn't watch that game, hopefully you're picking up some stuff from the replay. If you're one of these guys making this decision, and look, all you got to do is look at the comments of Kevin O'Sullivan and a couple of the Florida players post game. They were very complimentary of Alabama, and I think that bodes well. There's no question Alabama is a top 16 team. They need to be hosting.
As for Florida, though, on a quest that they come in with the number 1 overall seed in the tournament. Alabama does give them a scare, but the result is Florida stays in the winner's bracket. Now they get Vanderbilt. And this Florida team trying to be the number 1 seed and still win this SEC tournament. Yeah.
And, Scott, this Florida team has played with a lot of confidence all year long. They really have. There have been a number of games, and I know that's been touched on, by Kevin O'Sullivan at the end of the season, and then certainly last night, and they've done a good job on the SEC Network of talking about that too, where this Florida team, they fall behind, and it doesn't seem to bother. They just, they play with a lot of confidence. They just pick up the pieces, and they're gonna come after you, and they're gonna come back and try and win this game. Just a good baseball team. You've got some guys stepping up. I think you've seen Jack Caglione pitching better and much more consistent. I think you've seen some guys that needed to get hot at the right time, get hot at the right time. Now, a couple of them aren't as consistent as they need to be in the lineup, but when they need them, they seem to come through. Well, it's just a very fun Florida team to watch.
Well, I have a question, and I know you're going to laugh and you get a kick out of this, because I was thinking this before the comeback happened and when I watched him hit, because it was my first time seeing him live. But in the 90s, Mark, in the late 90s when I was at Alabama, going to baseball games, and the Gators were really good back then as well, not quite as good as they are now, but we're still really good. When I was watching Caglione, I wanted to check his birth certificate and find out if Brad Wilkerson was his uncle. Because he reminds me of the same dude. Brad was a two-way guy, mound and hitting. He hit one that I think hit Coleman Coliseum. Alabama won the game, but he hit one that hit Coleman Coliseum, I think, back in the day. It was still going up when it went over the fence and over the light poles. But that's who Caglione reminds me of. Now, I didn't get a chance to see him pitch. I hope maybe to see it on television. But that dude last night, it was basically, I think they retired him twice, but he hit the daylights out of it pretty much every time. He is a special talent. I think he's leading the nation in home runs. He throws 98 off the mound, and he's not even their number one starter, just to tell you how loaded Florida is.
Yeah, and he's only a sophomore.
We're right. He could be the first pick in the draft as either a pitcher or a hitter.
Yeah, he's unbelievably talented. And the size, the length. 6'5", 240. He's got, so he's got the length. He's got the athleticism. He's just an unbelievable player. And look, you hit it right. He leads the nation in home runs, but also you watch him hit. He just smokes the ball every time he hits it. Go back and look at some of the foul balls he hit.
Yeah, he was hitting it through the shift last night. They were shifting.
He was ripping them. Yeah, he was ripping them, and that's who he is. If he's not hitting the home run, he's probably hitting the double. Very talented player. And you guys touched on it earlier. When you look at that lineup, hitting behind Wyatt Langford, Are you kidding me? That's pretty sweet.
No,
and
go ahead, Scott.
These two teams, Florida and Vanderbilt, though, I mean, so coming into the SEC tournament, Auburn faced Missouri 4 straight games. They finished with 3 against the Tigers and then had to face them in Hoover. This game today with Vanderbilt and Florida should be very fresh because it was just a couple weeks ago, right, that
Right.
these two squared off against each other?
Yeah, should be. And look, Brandon Sproat had a fantastic outing, Scott, against Vanderbilt. He went 6 innings, allowed 5 hits, no earned runs, walked 3 and struck out 5, and Florida got a 10-0 win, and they went home early. Yeah, they went home in the 7th. So if you're a Florida fan, you're hoping for that kind of outing again by Sproat, and then maybe Florida can keep moving on and win this tournament. But so it sets up very nicely for the Gators from that perspective. They just Vanderbilt just couldn't get anything going against Sproat.
Well, I could just say this: Sproat was throwing 100 against Alabama, and so Alabama's got a good lineup, a veteran lineup, and he made them look ordinary. He's their ace. There's no question about it. But I got to tell you, this is going to sound funny too. As talented as Caglione is, and he is a special talent, probably the hitter that impressed me the most last night from a Florida perspective and really also how smooth he was out in the field defensively was Josh Rivera. That guy, to quote Michael Jackson's a smooth criminal. He is absolutely just a smooth shortstop and just a professional hitter, Mark. I mean, when you talk about having to face Wyatt, Caglione, and this kid, all in 2, 3, and 4, that's very difficult. And then if you get through them, then you got BT Rapinell waiting to hit one to right center over the stanchion back there into the trees. I mean, it's very difficult to navigate.
It really is. And Rivera has been we've watched him from a young guy. He was very talented. You could see it, but they're rather inconsistent early on. And then, he kind of hit his stride, last year. Last year, he just really started to come together and be that guy. He could do it defensively. He's always done it defensively, but he really became a much better offensive player, and he's that this year again. I mean, he just this lineup for Florida. Look, this is a very special team, and this is a team that can go to Omaha and win it all.
Yeah, they can. There's no question about it. Now, I know since they won it all a few years ago, they've had some disappointments. So this should be a team that's hungry, Mark, to get back there.
There's no question. There's no question. They are, and Sully is too. As you said, there've been a couple of lean years since they were there, and this may not be the most consistent group of starters they have pitching. But the talent and the arm talent is unbelievable. As you said, you got guys throwing 95 plus, and if they're hitting the mark, if they're not missing, and Florida's had some struggles earlier in the year between the starters and the bullpen guys just missing pitches, and it was very frustrating to watch them because you knew that you saw the talent. But if they can bring it all together, and it looks like they're starting to come together and peak at the right time, you guys know. That's what it's all about. It's peaking at the right time in college baseball when you have a good team, and it looks like that seems to be the case right now for Florida.
It really does. And now I know Scott and I. We've been talking football today too, and we talked a little bit about the cocktail party. Personally, I think it needs to stay where it's at. I mean, You've seen many of them. I know that some of the Georgia sides clamoring for it to be home at home. I think it's a very unique atmosphere, a very unique environment. Before we talk a little Napier, what are your thoughts on the game, the re-upping in Jacksonville, and staying there long term?
I would love to see that really long term. And for anyone that's not experienced it, you got to come down and check out the world's largest outdoor cocktail party. It is just an amazing event. It starts typically on Wednesday. It runs right on through Sunday, and it is just a fabulous event. Jacksonville does a lot of great things there. And look, anybody who's in Jacksonville will tell you, outside of the Jaguars with the excitement of getting Trevor Lawrence and a quality coach now in there. Before that, the biggest thing going on in Jacksonville during football season was the Florida-Georgia game.
Yeah, there's no doubt about
Well,
it.
so what does it mean? What does the agreement mean? The 2-year agreement. I mean, is it going to be long term, or is this just a Band-Aid to keep it there for 2 more years?
Probably get the mayor reelected.
Yeah, it's a Band-Aid. It's a Band-Aid. It really is. And long term though, they said they're going to. It was a standard line that you typically get, Scott. We're going to continue these thoughts and these talks as we go forward. We'd love to keep it in Jacksonville. It's been a great host. It's been a great event for so many years, and so it's going to be very interesting to see, especially when they redo the stadium in Jacksonville in a few years. And so it's all going to be interesting to see how this all plays out long term.
Yeah, no question about it. And now, speaking of long term, Billy Napier, the Gators, I know he's been making the rounds, drumming up the enthusiasm. I still think he's recruiting at a very high level, much higher, probably as high a level as we've seen since Urban Meyer had it rolling. But if they'll just be patient, especially considering he's only going into year 2, it's night and day from Dan Mullen. But I know you've had a chance to see Billy. Talk about this offseason, his mindset right now, and this Gator program.
Well, you're exactly right, Drew. I mean, Dan Mullen and even Jim McElwain, to a degree, it was hard for them to get 5-star kids to come to campus,
right? And
then to check out the University of Florida. It was hard for Dan Mullen to get elite 4-star kids to come to the Florida campus and check it out. They just didn't recruit well. With Napier right now, and one of the questions that I asked him was about finishing. If anybody watched Florida football last year, they didn't finish the first half very well a lot of times, and they didn't finish the game well a lot of times. So finishing really seemed to be a problem for them, and I talked to him about that and kind of the attitude going in, and he answered that question much as he's answered some of the others, and he said, "Look, guys, year two. We are year 2 with me here. Most of our staff is back. We have a lot of core group players. We have a pretty strong core group player back who can help us, and we feel confident in them going into year 2. They know what's going on, so that's kind of where he's at. He actually he's talking it up, guys. I mean, he's got confidence that yes, we have a lot of work to do. We're not where we need to be, but we're on the right road to get to where we want to be. It's just people are going to have to be a little more patient.
And the quarterback race going into fall, we talked a lot about it here in Alabama because Alabama has a lot of quarterbacks. What does it look like there for Florida?
Yeah, and Scott, that's where they missed. Obviously, they went out. They got a guy who they like, in Graham Mertz out of Wisconsin. A guy who started 3 years there, but they wanted to add one more. They didn't get to do that, so they are going to find a way to add someone else. And of course, it could be Austin Simmons, the kid who just completed his sophomore year down in Pahokee. Wow. If he were to reclassify, we'll see what happens there. But Napier told us with regard to the quarterback race that Jack Miller really started to come on in spring practice, and things came together for him more, and he's picking it up more. And by the end of spring ball, he thought Miller had closed the gap a little bit on Mertz. Now, what we saw, Mertz was always out there with the ones, so he's still the guy to beat. But I think there's some confidence in Billy Napier and his staff that Jack Miller is going to push Mertz a little bit, and as we all know, that's exactly what needs to happen, and that's what wasn't happening at Florida, and in a lot of positions just weren't being pushed over the past 2 years.
And Mark, I know you're getting a good feel for it and how confident Billy is, and you'll have an even more an idea when we see it in July in Nashville. But if everything comes together, if the Gators improve defensively, if Mertz can be good and play well, I think they'll be able to run the ball. I still think I know they lost some big time guys in Osiris Torrance and some pieces on the O-line. But I know they brought in some transfers. What is the ceiling right now for the Gators in your mind?
The schedule's tough. They came out with
that opener is really tough. Yeah,
it really is on the road at Utah, and then they came out with the stats last week and said that Florida had the third toughest schedule in the country. Well, I think that's going to make it more difficult for Napier and company. That defense has to come together, Drew.
Yeah.
And they got Caleb Banks, they got Cameron Jackson to help them with the interior defensive line, a position of need. They did not add another edge rusher, which is something Billy Napier wanted to do in the portal, guys, but they came up empty thus far, and it doesn't look good. So obviously, added some linebacker help, safety. They lost 3 safeties to the portal, another one to the draft. They brought in R.J. Moten from Michigan. I think if the defense can improve, and look, I don't know how it could be any worse. That was probably the worst defense we've seen in Gainesville, maybe in 30 or 40 years.
Wow.
But I think 7 wins would be where I would have Florida at. I just need to see more from Mertz at the quarterback position, and then some of these wide receivers, guys. I mean, they just need to develop. Outside of Pearsall, I don't know really who you can point a finger at and count on and say that's the next guy. They just don't have that guy. They're counting on Andy Jean, Aiden Mizell, 2 freshmen to come in and help them right away. They look good in spring practice. Marcus Burke needs to develop, and he's got all kinds of talent. Big, lengthy guy at 6'4", 6'4.5", can run pretty well. And they just need to get him to develop and a couple other guys to develop. Caleb Douglas looked good for him last year out of Texas as a freshman. Another pretty big kid, 6'3", 210 pounds. But they've got to develop some wide receivers for Mertz and really develop the tight end position as well. But 4 new starters on the offensive line. Yeah, there just seems to me there's going to be a lot of work in progress. Really is.
Really is. Well, great stuff from Mark McLeod. You can connect with him on Twitter at McLeod Live, host of the Gator Blitz. Man, we really appreciate the time. Enjoy the rest of the SEC tournament. Kevin O'Sullivan, those guys definitely headed to national seed and host a regional. Thank you, man. We always appreciate the conversation.
Hey, always good to be on with you guys. Thanks a lot.
All right, let's get a break in. When we come back, Talking Ball 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Just got a wreck on Huntsville Browns Ferry at Fieldview. That's going to be west of County Line. That one's coming in with injuries. Got the 1300 block of Putman Drive. No injury reported there. I-65 northbound Tennessee River Bridge. They're pushing all the traffic over to the right, waiting on a wrecker to arrive to clear that one. And it sounds like we may have one coming in on 565. I'll get that one for you shortly. Someone dies from heart disease every 36 seconds. Dr. Randall Burns and the team at Huntsville Heart Specialist on Bob Wallace Avenue can help you keep your heart healthy. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Forgiveness. Wow, what a word. What a gift. All of us have done things in our lives that we regret. All of us have done things that are disobedient. All of us have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. Thank God for his forgiveness. Thank God that he separates our sins as far as the east is from the west and remembers them no more. Hey, I'm John Dees, pastor at Cross Point Church, smack dab across the street from the YMCA in Madison. Check us out at cpcfamily.org.
Normally, when you call a roofing company, all you hear is, you need a new roof. Not when you call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Since 1965, the folks at Fleming have been focused on what you need, whether it's an easy repair or a full roof replacement, commercial or residential. And when it comes to storm damage, you want Fleming on your side. They know all the ins and outs of insurance claims and will guide you through the entire process. Log on FlemingHSV.com and book your free estimate today. Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
Tom Luganbill here for my friends at Woody Anderson Ford. Bobby White and his team take great pride in their service department, and you can see it the moment you walk into those beautiful new service lanes. And just like a championship team, they all work together to make sure your experience is second to none, whether you drive a Ford or not. Also, check out the gold certified pre-owned inventory at Woody Anderson Ford for great deals every day. Stop by and see them at Jordan and Sparkman or at Woody Anderson of Madison on Hughes Road, or visit WoodyAndersonFord.com.
Are you tired of chasing a roofing contractor to show up on time or even show up at all? I'm Sam Fleming with Fleming Roofing and Restoration. Our motto at Fleming Roofing is we show up. Our goal at Fleming Roofing is to provide the reliable customer service that you deserve, and we have the resources to meet all of your roofing needs: residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. We are manufacturer certified for roof coatings, single-ply membranes, and asphalt shingles. Whenever you need a roofing professional you can count on, call Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We are committed to finding the solution that meets your needs. We don't have quotas or heavy-handed sales tactics. Fleming Roofing, we have expert experience. We show up. Free estimates, residential, commercial, industrial, replacement, or repairs. Check us out at FlemingHSV.com. FlemingHSV.com. When you need a quick response, it's Fleming Roofing and Restoration. We show up.
256-576-4977. That's how you can be a part of the program, be a part of the show this morning. It's Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN The Zone. And again, if you missed it in hour number 1, make sure you circle your calendars for Monday, June 19th. Mars Music Hall, the place to be. I guess you could say it's our night of champions.
Yeah.
That is where we will be handing out the 2023 Woody Anderson Ford Rocket City Awards presented by the Sports Commission. High school male and female athlete of the year. High school male and female teams of the year, boys and girls team of the year. North Alabama College team of the year on the boys and men's and girls side. You got your athlete of the year on the North Alabama College side, your professional local athlete of the year.
Your inspirational award?
Yeah, we got all kinds of good stuff. We got the Billy Neighbors Lifetime Achievement Award, plus a buffet dinner. Yeah. I mean, what can you go wrong? Tickets start at just $60. That's it. $60 is going to get you in the door for a night of champions. We're going to honor these athletes. We're going to have a great time inside Mars Music Hall. I believe the doors are going to open 5:30, I think. It's going to start at 7. It's going to be a great, great night. Yeah, WH&T News 19.
The Lackey Law Firm, 1-800.
The Lackey Law Firm, I don't think will be there.
Hey, this is
Eli Gold won't be there as well.
Yeah. This is the Bandy moment of the show.
We get ghosts every now and then through the show.
I know, Vandy, but
but see, you disappear, and all of a sudden we hear things. So we think you're. You're doing something,
and then we see the Ray, which is the.
Yeah, we give the
I don't know. We call that the Ray around here.
You just raid us.
Yeah, that's all right. You got it under control. I mean, it's just for about 2 minutes we see the Ray. Like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know really why we're here.
And Wheel of Fortune's not even on.
Yeah, it's not. And no espresso either. It smelled good though.
I tell you what. There is nothing. I do not drink coffee.
You don't drink coffee. Neither one of us drink coffee, but there's nothing like the smell of coffee.
Yes, a fresh ground coffee smell.
Yeah,
is one of the most pleasing smells. I would think.
Yeah, and this is a good karma here. We're watching 19, and they've got the city of New Hope up there.
Right,
but a big loss for New Hope. But a great game for Skyline. Craig McGill, who's done a great job since coming from the state of Tennessee, elevating that girls program at New Hope. He is a Skyline grad. He is taking, and this is interesting, he is going to Skyline, Scott, and he is taking both the girls and boys jobs, and he is going to coach them both.
What did we see? Was it Pisgah? Carrie Ellison this past year tried doing the same thing. And then remember way back in the day, Danny Petty
at Madison Academy.
Did it at Madison Academy, yeah. Coaching both the boys and girls side.
Yeah. But, yeah, Craig McGill, congratulations. That's quite a move for him. Of course, there'll be a lot of interest in that New Hope girls job. A lot of really good players. Kaylee Yarbrough, one of the best in the state. So we'll see. I mean, going to be very interesting to find out who has to fill those big shoes over there at New Hope.
All right, we've got to get a break in. Yes, indeed, we do. Because we're not done. We've only just begun. Lance Cormier. We're not done. We've only just begun. Where did I hear that from?
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
From the Fox 54 Weather Center, I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman. A partly sunny sky this afternoon. Temperatures climbing into the low and mid-80s. Maybe an isolated shower across the Tennessee Valley. Most of us going to end up staying dry. Dropping into the upper 50s, lower 60s through the overnight, early into your Friday morning. Partly sunny sky Friday afternoon. Upper 70s, lower 80s. An isolated shower is going to be possible. We're going to maintain this weather pattern as we head into your Saturday. A partly sunny sky. Temperatures in the mid and upper 70s. Some of us creeping into the lower 80s with an isolated shower. I'm Chief Meteorologist Jordan Dressman on your home for ESPN Radio. 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
Looks like they're still pushing northbound traffic on the Tennessee River Bridge, I-65 in Decatur. The right lane, trying to get that wreck cleared up. Picked up a wreck at Old Madison Pike and Cambridge Drive, reported with injuries. They've canceled EMS on that one. And we had one on Huntsville Browns Ferry. That one's going to be west of County Line. That one reported as an injury type. No hose, no mask. You could ask Dr. Sandman, that's Dr. Sandlin, for the medically proven benefits of the Somnodent for sleep apnea and for snoring. Dr. Sandlin, 350-CARE. Captain Nick in the North Parkway Popeyes Skywatch Traffic Center.
Specializing in simple and affordable rentals, McCurry Van and Car Rental can make sure you have just the right vehicle for your next family vacation, weekend getaway, or if you just need transportation while your vehicle is being repaired. McCurry carries Ford Transit vans and Mercedes Sprinter vans, trucks and work vans, and more. And they offer discounted rental rates for long-term rentals. Now with 4 locations: Athens, Muscle Shoals, Coleman, and Huntsville. Log on McCurryRentals.com to make your reservation now. That's McCurryRentals.com.
Now open, this is your invitation to experience the grand opening of ABIQ's new 10,000 square foot showroom. The best brands in home audio, home theater, and home automation. The place to see and hear and feel and listen and watch. The place where you can audition top brand audio and video equipment before it goes in your home. World-class brands now available in Huntsville. Come experience the difference. 1833 University Drive, just east of the Parkway at the all-new AVIQHSV.com.
Are you in the market for a recreational vehicle? Do you want to get out and see more of this beautiful country? Well, imagine hearing the laughter of your little ones enjoying gooey s'mores by a cozy campfire and making lasting memories with your friends and family from the comfort of a new camper. We can make your dreams come true at Hall's RV. With over 15 years in the camping business, we know how to get our customers into the perfect camper. We have several models and floor plans here for you to choose from, both new and used. We're family owned and operated with fantastic deals and great service. Everyone wants to work with people they can trust, so come on down to Hall's RV and get the deal of a lifetime. We'll treat you right and get you on the road in the camper of your dreams. Visit us on Highway 431 in Albertville. Hall's RVs, where we sell fun. Or see us on the web at www.hallsrvsales.com.
Did you know that Valley Equipment Rental also specializes in day and weekend rentals to homeowners? The weekend rentals is by far the best deal that they offer. If you pick up after 2 on a Friday or anytime Saturday morning, it's not due in until Monday morning before 8 a.m. for a one-day charge. For a small fee, Valley can even haul anything they carry. Valley has extremely experienced and knowledgeable staff that can help you decide what size machine you need or what type of machine you need to get your job done like a pro. They have all the big items that the contractors need for their jobs, but they also carry the small tools that can help you with your DIY project. More importantly, Valley is locally owned and operated, which means when you have an issue, you can get someone on it right away, right here in the Valley. Heck, ask for Ross Roberts, the owner, if you like. Try calling one of the big box national outlets and ask for the owner. That's if you can even get through the automation. Buy local. Buy Valley Equipment Rental. Valley Equipment Rental has 2 locations, one on the North and South Parkway. Learn more at valleyequipmentrents.com.
There we go. Welcome back. Talking Ball, 97.7 ESPN Zone. Scott Tyson, Drew DeArmond. And it may have gone extra innings last night, but Alabama and Florida did not disappoint. It may have disappointed Tide fans who saw the score and saw Alabama come up short in extra innings. But you got to like the fight. You got to like the grit, not only in that game last night, but you got to like it the way Alabama has shown coming down the stretch. They went from not in regional hosting conversation to cementing probably a hosting spot.
Well, there was even some thought earlier in the season, even some worry because, the first about 3 weeks of conference play was rough. Even the RPI was good, but there were still questions about them having to be maybe a 3 seed and being on the bubble, but they're not. They've been on the 2 seed line for a long time, and now, as you said, Scott, they played their way into hosting conversation. Our next guest was part of a golden era of Alabama baseball from '99 to 2002. He was on teams that won the SEC tournament, that won regionals, and that and reached Omaha when he was a freshman. No doubt about that. He was a 7-year major league pitcher and is now a rising broadcaster with both SEC Network and ESPN, and he'll be busy with assignments, I'm sure, during regional and super regional play, and that's Lance Cormier, and he's been good enough to give us some time this morning on the Neighbors Wealth Management Hotline. Lance, welcome back to Huntsville. You're with Drew and Scott. How are you this morning?
Man, doing good. Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, no doubt. I know you were watching last night. Tough loss for the Crimson Tide, no doubt, but I still think they proved they should be a regional host. We'll see if they've done enough, Lance. I'd love it if they could get a win today, against a really good Auburn ball club who should be hosting. But what were your takeaways from first the Alabama game last night and then this SEC tournament as a whole so far?
Well, obviously the Alabama game, it's just a great game. If you just like baseball, you have to, if you put your fan card aside from which team, it was a really good game. You hate to see Moza at the beginning in the 8th to make the error on the throw and a bunt. Looked like he just didn't have he didn't go attack the ball to go get it. But man, that dude pitched his what off, in the 9th, the 10th, and then it's a game of emotions. You could see, how going from so high when Seidel gets the double, and then all of a sudden the next, it's like whack, 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 happens so fast, and it's like, wow, it's over. But no, great game, and again, just like you said, I heard you guys talking about, just grit. This team is a fighting team. But when you have 5-year, 6-year guys that are your main guys and your main leaders, like these dudes, they didn't come back to college for their 5th year for just to give in too easy, and so they've helped instill that. Guys like Seidel, Drew Williamson, Andrew Pinckney, and Jim Jarvis, pitchers McMillan and McNary, like they're instilling that that fight, that never end type of mindset, because again they could have gone to the professional ranks, they could have gone and started their careers in real world stuff, but instead they're like, hey, we're going to go through this grind again. If we're going to go through it, let's make the best of it.
Yeah, and they nearly get it done last night. Talk about the emotions, though, and you played this game. Alabama goes up by 3, top of the 11th, bottom of the 11th. You can't get off the field. Florida walks it off. And now you got to wake up today, and you got to do it again. It helps with it's your rival, Auburn, on the other side. That's got to help. But talk about the emotions of trying to play again today with that same emotion that you had yesterday against top-ranked Florida.
Well, yeah, that's the big thing, and it's a quicker turnaround. You're talking about two teams that haven't started before 5 o'clock. Now they're at the 1 o'clock. And, again, they're used to that. But, like Auburn, man, Auburn has had the late game the last 2 nights, and it's been a really late game. And so but it's a thing where I think, I know y'all are talking, like, going into it, the last weekend, I kind of thought it was going to take 5 wins, 3 against Ole Miss, 2 in the tournament to like guarantee yourself a regional spot. I'm a host.
Right.
Auburn with 17 wins in the league, having that one game up over Bama and finishing 5th in the conference. They feel like they cemented themselves, and then another win against Missouri, even though that win against Missouri is not weighted as much as Alabama's win over Kentucky. But for the most part, like, to feel comfortable, like this is your play-in host game type of thing. And I think that gives you another, not only it is Auburn, to your rival, but you also have that, hey, if we go ahead and take care of business, it obviously gives us that second win in the conference, but it gives us that win against a team that they feel could host, we feel could host. Well, if we beat them, and that would be another one for Bama, that would be 3 out of 4 on the year. I think that would cement Bama's resume as a host. And I've always told people, like, they have no clue. I talked to JJ about that when it got to the point where it's like, dude, could this happen? And like, the fans, a lot of these newer age fans, like, have no clue what a Tuscaloosa regional atmosphere would be like. I mean, it's one of the best things ever. You kind of get a taste of it with softball, but when you start putting in, 6,000, adding 2,000 to 3,000 more people than softball, and Bama will do it. I truly believe they would do it, and so I really hope they get a chance to do that, and I hope I'm on that call so I can see it in person. But I think there's going to be a lot of energy, because it's going to be with both Alabama and Auburn. It's going to be a good crowd, so the energy will be there. It'll help you out. It won't be like some day game in a conference tournament where there's parents and girlfriends and friends. It's not a friends and family game. It'll be a game where there's a lot of people there.
There will be, no doubt about it. And Lance, is it going to help Alabama to potentially have a veteran? You kind of alluded to it earlier in the conversation, but potentially Alabama's pitching still in pretty good shape, starting-wise, if a guy like Garrett McMillan's on the bump today against Auburn.
I agree. I think Bama is in a much better spot. Obviously, you're down your closer, Alston Davis, after back-to-back outings. And I know that's tough for him, not doing that during the season, and especially the two innings before coming back in. He got loose already, and then he had to go back in. I probably would have rather seen him start the inning fresh.
Yeah.
Just different mindset. But, no, I think Bama's got to be – I saw Riley Quick. We haven't seen him in a while. He was obviously getting loose in the game. But you still feel like you got Hagan Banks. You got, Connor Ball, Jake Leger. You got Braylon Myers, Quick. I mean, Zane Probst. You got guys that, like, you want your closer, but, like, the way Furtado pitched on Tuesday was amazing to be able to do that. Cade Woods probably could come back with only 2 innings. And so I think Bama's feeling really good. Auburn used guys on Tuesday. They knew that was a must-win, and they went with their number one, Vail. They went with their top guys out of the bullpen, and then Allsip yesterday was good. So I think Bama, in their mind right now, have to be feeling good about themselves. On the mound, both lineups are really good. Both lineups, it's one of those things where they just keep coming at you. They might not have the names like an LSU lineup or the Florida guys or South Carolina, but like, they're going to keep coming at you. I mean, Ed Johnson is a guy that he hit 394 last year. All he does is hit. He's at 333 and he's hitting 8th. And this guy's just going to keep hitting. Caden Rose at the bottom is a streaky hitter, but I mean, you can say the same thing on the other side of Auburn. So it's going to be a fun game. Both teams are really evenly matched in the regular season for their series, but also throughout the course of the year. I mean, they basically were sitting in the same spot, 4-8, and that's when you were talking about earlier in the open part of the segment, when you said, thinking about that. I mean, Bama was 4-8, and you're thinking about they're possibly a regional host. That is a crazy finish, and you got to give a lot of credit to Jason Jackson, the other staff, and the boys, just to believe that all the stuff that happened and everything, they were able to flush that, put it behind them, and just continue to play ball.
Mm-hmm. And this team has done enough in your mind to host a regional?
My heart says yes, because that's it. You put them in any other league. You look at the beginning of the season, Ole Miss was crushing folks in the non-conference Big Ten champions. I was sitting next to a Vanderbilt player at the game on Tuesday night, and he's like, dude, Ole Miss, they were so good in that Minnesota tournament. And all of a sudden they're the worst team in the league, and you're like, well, they were blasting other teams, and like you could put most of the SEC teams, especially the states, the Ole Miss, Missouri, Georgia's, Alabama's, A&M's, like the guys who finished 9 through 16, and they're in the top 4 to 5 probably in most conferences, and then they are in the hosting, no questions asked. So I do think they've done enough. I just don't know. It just depends on does a West Coast team sneak in? Right. Does a Northern team sneak in because they really want to have that geographical, spread where it's not all Southeastern baseball throughout this, and they will really try that. And so now, if Alabama is not hosting, it really sucks for the team that's the number one team that they're getting sent to, because nobody would want to play Alabama right now.
Well, and Lance, we're talking to Lance Cormier, SEC Network Plus, also part of ESPN. What about this Final Four? This is a very formidable, they're not guaranteed to be playing in the semifinals Saturday yet with a double elimination portion, but you got a couple of matchups that are big time. Vanderbilt, Florida, then Arkansas, who got a big walk-off win over a really, plucky Texas A&M team. No doubt about it. But you got really the top 4 teams when you talk about these guys that are playing today: LSU, Arkansas, Vanderbilt, Florida. This is some big time stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when chalk plays out and the fans are going to get to see the teams, face each other that everybody would have hoped to. I don't know yet. I haven't seen the rotations on who's pitching.
Right.
But I would assume Skeens will be pitching today, or maybe they're holding him out a little bit longer. I don't know. But, I mean, Arkansas just keeps getting it done. So many injuries. Dave Van Horn has just, he has put that team, has to be the best coaching job he's ever done. And I think the satisfaction won't sit in until you kind of sit back over the course and see how the season finishes. But what they keep doing with, for the most part, the names they have are banged up or not even playing anymore just to keep winning. Florida, though, it's a powerful team. The lineup is up and down. LSU just, took care of South Carolina. South Carolina's trying to be into that same thing. So I think for Alabama, Auburn, too, you got to see what South Carolina does. If they go 2-2 after the first game, it helps you out. It helps both of those teams. So it's going to be exciting. I mean, that's what you love about the SEC tournament is those first, 3 days where you have the 4 games. I mean, if you love college baseball and you're getting to see just the premier talent in the country for 4 games. I mean, it's probably the best thing. I mean, and you get to see people you haven't seen for forever. So I was walking around there. It was just getting to talk to so many people. You see the scouts, you see the players. I mean, literally, I was sitting next to Sam Leboki, who started against Auburn. Hunter Owens on the other side of him, and my little man was like, dude, getting his autographs, and it's like, they're just watching games, and so that's a really cool thing where those players go and experience that as well from the fans' perspective. But it's just an amazing event, and I think the fans are going to be excited with the baseball they get today.
No doubt about it.
Well, let's talk about Jason Jackson, though. Long term, is he a viable candidate to be the head coach?
I think you have to at least give him the chance. I think if he does lock in a host, I would be hard pressed for Greg Byrne not to be in negotiations with him, just to say, hey, let's take the interim tag off. I mean, you want to talk about fire up a fan base and a club as you're going into the regionals, and now you don't have an interim manager, because it just sounds so weird and funny whenever when interim head coach, like when they're announcing it, before the games, if all of a sudden if he feels JJ has righted the ship, which I think you have to kind of say. He not only has righted it, he's kept it, going full speed ahead. Players love him. I think the staff loves him. Administrative. I mean, the guy he has such quiet confidence and knows who he is as a person and as a coach. And knows he's a good coach. And right now, like he says, look, hey, when the game goes on, there's nothing that I do any different. He doesn't talk to the hitters for the most part because that was not his job in the first place. And so he runs his pitching staff, and Matt Rada and Hunter Morris, they'll run the hitting and win the steal, win the button run and everything. And JJ wants to use a bullpen like he does. That's what he's done in his 6 years. And so that kind of stuff hasn't changed. And so that, to me, won't be a thing. Do they feel like he can be the guy that becomes the CEO of a program, continue the recruiting role? Because Matt Rada grinds on the recruiting trail. Bo was out there, and so is JJ. But I think it becomes more of that was Bohannon's MO, and so he was going to be a recruiter. Well, that's what Matt Rada does as a coordinator. So Jason Jackson was there, but it's not as much, and so that probably wouldn't change either. You go find another top-notch recruiter and have them hit the road and see what they can bring back in. So I think he's the guy that you really have to give him a lot of credit and possibly even offer him. I don't know where they're at. If it comes down to sanctions, it's one of those things as an alum, I hope that doesn't come into play. But it is still out there, and it's scary to think about, the NCAA trying to basically make an example of a program, and that way, if you're another school, another player, coach, whatever, you look at that and go, there is no way you're going to do this because you're going to really wreck your program. And so if that happens, then you go, well, who will take the job? And that's the part of, trying to keep players, trying to keep everything else. status quo. And so if that's the case, he might be the easiest guy to keep it afloat. So, but I love Jason. He's been great to me, and I love talking pitching with him. And he's a really good pitching coach. But he's showing right now that he can be a leader of men.
Well, I will say this, Lance, before we wrap it up with you. My last comment would be, if Greg Byrne makes that move, then he needs to give the resources and the budget to Jason Jackson to succeed long term. And that means what you just talked about, getting a top-notch recruiter to fill out the staff and also to beef up the support staff baseball-wise.
Yeah, and that's the whole part. Bama fans and the administration and the coaching staff going all the way back to the late 90s when they were wanting the new stadium and it was like, yeah, you're going to get it, then you didn't get it, you got renovated, you got a huge Band-Aid on the stadium, and it's like nothing is changing. And softball gets their new stadium and it's like, wow, you drive down McFarland going, man, it's so pretty and it's just so fan friendly, and like that's what Bama baseball has been always needing and wanting. Well, you get the new stadium, but they still did some things where it's like, kept the grandstand. And as a fan, the stadium, when you sit in the stands, it's awesome. It's beautiful. It's a great place to go. But like for the players, which is now the things that everything needs to recruit, like the underneath stuff for the players, it's not as good as anybody. It's in the bottom portion of the league comparative to the Vanderbilts, the Ole Miss, the Arkansas, LSU's, those types of teams that fans expect you to compete with. But if you can't compete with them in showing them those things, and you got the scholarship limitations that they don't have, and like you just said, the support staff budget's not there, you're right. He's going to have to open up the pocketbook one way or the other to, if truly Bama wants their baseball program to be considered one of the programs in the SEC. And guess what? It's just going to get harder when a school like Oklahoma and Texas come in, who Oklahoma last year played for the championship. They've already invested. You can go check out the renderings for their new stuff. Their coach, Skip Johnson, he's already locked down. They got a great staff already, too. So, everybody's going to spend the money, and the ones that don't, you're going to start to see in the bottom. And that's where you're seeing probably the Missouris, the Georgias, and the Alabamas over the course of the last probably, 7 years, is those teams just haven't spent the money like everybody else has. And that, you hate to say it, but when the money comes, a lot of times the wins come as well.
Well, great stuff, Lance. We appreciate it. We hope you're definitely a part of the call going forward with Alabama and the SEC. It's going to be a great postseason, hopefully, for the Southeastern Conference. Enjoy the rest of the SEC tournament. We thank you for the thoughts, man.
Yes, sir. You guys have a great one.
We got to get a break in. We'll wrap it up next.
You're listening to Talkin' Ball on 97.7 ESPN, The Zone.
Got a disabled vehicle in the right lane coming inbound on Point Mallard at Country Club. Need to move to the left lane before you get to that one. Had a wreck at Old Madison Pike in Cambridge that reported with injury. They canceled EMS. Huntsville Browns Ferry west of County Line did have an injury. Still may be working on that one. And they were pushing all the northbound traffic on I-65 over to the right. Had a wreck almost to the north end of the bridge. That one reported as an injury type. Popeye Shrimp Tackle Box has 8 crispy Louisiana seasoned butterfly shrimp, a signature side, and a buttermilk biscuit, $6. Popeye's University in Jordan, 72 in Jeff and North Parkway. Captain Nick in the Popeye Skywatch Traffic Center.
Ad paid for by the Sentinel Group. Attention veterans, active duty military, civilians, and contractors. If you were issued earplugs between 1999 and 2015 and were diagnosed with hearing loss or ringing in the ears, you may be entitled to compensation. The manufacturer of these military earplugs recently paid $9.1 million to resolve claims that their earplugs were defective, potentially exposing service members to damaging sound levels that could have resulted in hearing loss or tinnitus. If you or a loved one were issued earplugs and were diagnosed with tinnitus or hearing loss, don't wait. You fought for this country, and our attorneys want to fight for you. Call 800-720-4587 now for a free legal consultation and to see if you may be eligible to file a claim. Time restrictions may apply, and you pay nothing unless there's a recovery in your favor. So call 800-720-4587 now. Again, 800-720-4587. That's 800-720-4587.
Guys, music can inspire us. Let the concert quality sound system at Zoom Indoor Cycling help push you harder than you ever thought possible. No matter if you're a beginner or an experienced rider, you'll ride top-of-the-line Stages SC3 bikes as the most talented instructors in North Alabama motivate you to reach your goals.
You can do it!
Zone Indoor Cycling is this week's Zone deal. Get a $100 certificate for just $50. Get yours now at 977ESPN.com. $2 specialty shoe rental per ride for new riders.
Great food and the best live entertainment is what it's all about at the Furniture Factory Bar and Grill. Head to downtown Huntsville every Tuesday for karaoke on the only outdoor karaoke stage in North Alabama. Thursday night is the Valley's longest running and biggest bike night. Food and drink specials, giveaways, and live music on the patio. And the Furniture Factory menu is fully loaded with options from steaks to salads, plus a whole lot more. Featuring a weekday happy hour that starts at 3. 619 Meridian Street, downtown Huntsville, and online at FurnitureFactoryBarGrill.com.
It's time for tomorrow's headlines today with Scott Tyson and Drew DeArmond on 97.7 ESPN The Zone.
The Atlanta Braves solved the mystery of the Los Angeles Dodgers last night. Braves get a win 4-3. Dodgers out-hit the Braves 12 hits to 5, but it's Atlanta getting the win 4-3 over the Dodgers. Best part of it the whole night, the Chicago Cubs, who are 4 games below 500, continue to baffle the Mets. As the Cubs, I believe, now have taken 3. They may have swept that series against the Mets.
Always
Cubs get a win
Mets lose.
4-2.
Yeah, never a bad day when the Mets lose. You know, but good. Ozzie Albies gets the sac fly to walk it off. Good win against the Dodgers, who had won the first 2 games of that series. The Braves able to salvage one. As you said, they got out hit, but they found a way to win. The Dodgers are probably the best team in the National League right now, so. You want to just salvage one there and continue to stack, and then try to get this pitching staff, the rotation in order.
Yep.
Because as you know, they've got Dylan Dye, they've got Schuster trying to fill spots because of the absence of Max Fried and our good friend Kyle Wright, who might be a part of that special show coming up.
The extent of our NBA conversation is this. Boston-Miami play tonight, 7:30.
Yeah, LeDum's at home again.
Miami leads the series 3-1. There we go. See? We
LeDum got
everything.
swept. Did Jordan ever get swept?
No.
He didn't.
Did he ever play 7 games in the NBA Finals?
No.
Okay. There we go.
He certainly didn't.
All right. Hey, Star Wars came out today, 1977.
Wow, we'll get to see Batman on the screen, too.
I want to go there.
If you're ready to lower your utility bills, it's time to call Eagle Insulation. Eagle can handle it all. Attic re-insulation, insulation removal, wall insulation,